sector-specific support schemes, which are integrated in the rural economy. And I think I'm more or less, environment, rural areas, rural communities. There's nothing new in this. I mean, all of you know about it, and all of you are working in these particular directions. So that's a part also of the sustainability triangle. We are talking about economy, we're talking about environment, we're talking about social, cultural issues. Well, this is more or less. Thank you very much. Keen to take questions.
Thank you for the presentation, and before we talk about my question is that just to listen to all this discussion, like I went one more time. Yes, it can be done, but it also so it's as simple as that. You need certain funds, and not for a short period of time, to address all these issues. So who is doing what, how to coordinate, who is financing, these are the main mechanisms that should be addressed. And honestly, I like that there are so many references to the cultural development strategy because most of the factors are there. I don't know, according to my taste, I'm still missing a bit more of that. Yeah, some nature issues are there. But what else? What class should be in a new project? Because whatever is discussed is not like quite sufficient to my taste. Because, it's like one thing here, two things there, but actually it's a bit bigger for my understanding. So please feel free to discuss how you look at your plan.
Just continuing what you were saying, I believe that we need civil society, strong civil society mechanisms for checks and balances. You mentioned farmers associations engaged in policy making, but it's not only policy making, it's also a watchdog function, if you want. Somebody should be watching at how the processes are going, and it shouldn't be necessarily farmers' organizations because they have certain limitations. Unfortunately, I have a feeling that the role of NGOs is slowly disappearing. Everything is given to the government, everything is given to the farmers' association, that's fine, but after all, people like you and me, Levan, will stay with no bread. So there should be involvement of NGOs in this process. This is my opinion.
Without watch, we'll stay dogs. Without watch, we'll stay dogs.
Yeah, sure. The other thing that I was thinking about when you were presenting, if you show these 5 bubbles, who is the author of this framework?
That's a joint undertaking of Oxfam Great Britain, and it's a global network.
See, I do respect Oxfam, an intellectually extremely strong organization, but I think that one thing is missing here. Again, it's my private opinion. We don't talk about social aspects of the framework. I don't see it here when we're talking about resilience framework.
Yeah. Social illustrational.
There was a scheme with the word resilience, and I don't see it anyway.
No, the next one was.
Whatever.
It's called resilience framework.
Yeah. See, in the resilience, there is a whole layer of social and cultural elements that influence resilience. Maybe it's there, but at least I don't see it in this presentation, because I'm trying to figure out where it is. Livelihood, viability, innovation potential, where it is.
Last two bubbles.
Yeah, but then when we had the explanations of that, I couldn't find that because, for example, participation decision making, good governance, it's very strong conditions of resilience. I don't see it here. Maybe it's somewhere there, hidden.
Especially in the last one, social institutional capability.
Social institution. And the last one?
Underlines participation.
Okay, so let's go on. Please, next question.
Okay. So this is about more mechanisms that we want to implement. The thing is that from National Foundation, which is National Response Fund, so we do involvement of women in decision making, rural, social issues, etc. And we start exactly from creating the self-help groups, self-help groups, and then of course this is capacity building and grant giving in the same time. And then we try to unite them under the office called the Community Resource Center, Education Resource Center. And then this is the way, so this is a long-term partnership with them to establish the community foundation led by women, but in one case we have led it by young men, so it's not just.
Sometimes there are.
Sometimes I don't know, there is.
Occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
but the point is that we're women's fund, so this is our reason. Yeah. And in 2013, together with these community foundations, they are all village-based, they have different names, etc., but they have mandate, they have written in their statute to give out the grant. So we started community philanthropy program in 2003, and so far we have this program on the way. You are absolutely right saying that all needs money, so no one is giving money for community philanthropy, but still, that's why I call this process the way from good money to good money goes to good people, because these people finally volunteer. The point is that they organize their competitions, and these very limited and modest funds they have to give out, they address to the best, most honest, which is absolutely crucial in our work, and enthusiastic people for small infrastructure programs like fixing this and that, and they present outcomes to their self-government, and self-government says that what they do, it costs about 10 times less money than how they spend it in their village development programs also, or some other state funds. So I think that this is, in my understanding, in the future of people's participation, community mobilization, local philanthropy development, local decentralization, etc., which I hope so will go to the bigger group like in your country, and will have the same power and better funding. So far it's just very limited, and I'm anytime ready to present here in this or other place the 3 years of community development. Very limited.
Yeah, I have one question, technical question, not a comment basically. The question relates to income figures which you present. Yeah, income figures or numbers which you present. When estimating different types of incomes and their contribution to federal budget, etc., did you mean monetary income
Yes.
or combined? Monetary.
Monetary.
from selling the agricultural product.
Yeah.
So, fundamentally, when you said that something is kind of left out of picture, one of the things which I'm always concerned with is whenever we're talking about strategies or some big things, changing the livelihoods, improve livelihoods, we are considering many things, but at the end of the day, we are ending up with incomes. So we understand that poverty is not lack of money, only lack of money, right? But at the end, we're coming to limiting ourselves with income. And I think we should the strategy or whatever we call, I don't like what strategy per se, and I will explain why later. So, even if people in rural areas generate money, where they will spend it? Right? So they have to come to the urban areas to spend this money. They don't have any joy for life. That's why they're calling young people and cities, etc. One part of story, right? There are many other components. So this is one of the comments. Another is when we're talking about strategy, again, what's the goal? Strategy is a means of achieving something. Are we in agreement what this strategy means to? What we want to achieve by that? I think this question needs to be answered.
I don't know. Societal action, opportunities in the area.
Well, in 20 years, using rural development strategy, what we will have, what we want to achieve in 20 years.
How do we do the floor, like general or just for? No. So, I just one comment that is probably true. The first one, I think is very distorting to talk about EU examples of massive money arriving in a sector like rural development for 25 years in different programs. And I think it's very distorting to get, it's good to know that it's there, where you can reach, or where the country can reach, but this is very difficult to start thinking a strategic brainstorming like the one we do today with these figures on top. So this certainly doesn't exist in Georgia, otherwise it doesn't exist in the country. So we can talk about support measures and social support measures and investment measures and the government taking this role, but this is not going to happen. So we have to find a compromise between what is the capacity of the sector, let's call rural development sector as a whole, to generate revenues and also the social implications that it has. This is my opinion, so I'm just going to slide out. But if we see, let's take a very concrete examples of agricultural production in this sense. Production of wheat in Georgia, we're talking about 1.2, 1.3, 1.5 tons per acre. Maize, we're maybe talking about 1.8. You take France, we're talking about 8 to 10 tons per acre. The possibility of increasing the productivity is enormous. If you are, this is just figures, but if you were a farmer and you're producing this from 1 meter to the other, if we only manage to double the production, it's doubling the income. So the possibility that you have to improve the lives of farmers, it's enormous. Something that the Georgians really stake a lot of pruning of orchards. Last week we had an expert in pruning, and he was telling me, I have been all in Gaheti for 1 week looking at orchards, and I have not seen a single peach tree that has been well pruned. That's so that the possibility of the sector has an enormous economic not only about agriculture, there are many things coming. But let's keep this minimum, let's keep a realistic approach of what can the role of the government be in terms of subsidies, super programs, while we also have not unexplored, but we have a lot of opportunities in the agriculture sector to improve the quality of life of people who stay there. And in the end, it is about probably not decide where this young person is going to spend the money. He will probably want to come to the visit to spend the money. He wants to go to the cinema, or he wants to go to the theater, or he wants to go to Restavili Avenue and have this. Everybody wants that. But let's give them the opportunities to earn the living in the areas where they live. And later they will decide to spend it, how to spend it. We cannot say someone that is 20 years old, talking like, no, you will stay in a small village in wherever for the rest of your life. That's not fair. So these also things are very important in my opinion.
Georgia heard about this. It was a time when peasants and farmers couldn't live their own places. Because government was taking passports out of them, and you could go somewhere for 2 or 3 days, but then you have to return back because you haven't registered, you don't have a passport. So, if it's a solution we want to use, for sure no. And yeah, people have to be free to travel, I also agree. But here is the issue, right? It's really, yeah, the guy may want to come to Tbilisi, go to Staveli, go to a bar, enjoy life, go to a nice place, have a life, and then go back in there, no life, no thinking, nothing, the guy will never go. So if we are talking about regional development, maybe not in every small village there should have a Staveli cinema, but it should be like in the vicinity of areas, like area development centers, they should bring others neighboring areas. They should have
Dignity of life.
yeah, you should have like some, and many European countries are doing this approach. You have like economic active zones or catalyst areas which are developing and link up nearby settlements to that. Unless we go to this direction, only the federal state will help. That's one part.
Yeah, but this is again
Hold on,
the
hold on,
issue.
hold on. 15 minutes. Give me 2 more minutes. Okay. And the second is that when you say that it's very good to be realistic, so that and I agree with you. There will not be much money to do it. And it's good that even in European Union, when it comes and the local government finance will be 10 or 15%, they don't, they will participate, whatever, but huge money is almost there. And it's still very difficult and not sufficient. So, bigger trick is how and what can be done with limited money, and planning and targeting and strategizing is much more important. Because when you have 120 million, I can spend half of this money, but half will be used correctly. If I have 2 million, I have to kill myself to spend it on most beneficial things. But let's still repeat that. What you say about increase of agricultural production, profitability, yield, marketing, whatever, it's all covered. It's at least legal in the agricultural strategy. So rural development should bring something more. Yeah, farmers cannot grow more than 1.2. So if you introduce agrotechnics, pure agricultural measures. For me, it's more agriculture than anything. Yeah, it's part of what else but this part. That's my big question. And now 2 minutes are over, so move on.
See, when we're talking about where to spend money, I think that the question is where to get money from, still. What place, the city of nearly 150,000 people live, there is some economics there, and not a single cinema theater in the city. So it's, first of all, we need to have people with some money in their pocket, money that they can dedicate to the cinema, to the book, to something else. So this way, to me, it's first of all economic opportunities to be created in the villages, Plus, when I remember we conducted a survey several years ago, and 3 reasons for people leaving villages was in Raja, only in Raja. It was money, it was education for children, and it was medical services, mostly for parents. So these were 3 main reasons. All other reasons were like 1%, 5%, 2%. All others were big blocks. But money was the largest. So it's not about like where to spend, it's like how to earn.
Yes, it's a question. Second is where to spend too, and why I can tell you what to do. Maybe economically we can do calculations, you know, and it's not profitable to invest a few million in the cinema and then operate the economy. Yes. But if government support or co-finance or development program in cinema will be there, the operational budget, then you should calculate number of visitors in this operation. So if that makes sense, this incentive, this activity should be done in the region. Nobody will put private road to remote area, forget about it. But if road will be there and you can maintain and bridge them, then you will do it. So the same approach should be other infrastructure too. Health, education. Sure, nobody will construct any hospital. Financially, in Raja, okay, but need is there. So if you construct it in a place and calculate it with the number of people, at least operational part to be maintained partially. Then these are the decisions we should be doing in this process.
I don't think we're comparing.
No, we're talking about the same from different areas.
Government should invest into areas where people can invest. And people can't build roads.
In my previous life, I was guilty, I was also in other side. And from the governmental side, I can tell you that there are so many priorities and profitable and economically priorities and not enough money. So government also looking to invest in the areas where it's more promising and more brings more benefits to protect them, because it's like, we should be fair, that's how it is.
I just wanted to echo what you said. That, there are communities where relatively income situation is more or less fine. Still, they are even remote communities. For example, Shatili. In terms of incomes, in terms of popularity, tourism, and so on, is more or less fit. But still, the population is decreasing. And the major reason is what you have indicated. That there is no societal action space, there is no societal action opportunity, you know? That's only a location to earn incomes, which is not enough. So in this particular context, once again I wanted to remind you this triangle of sustainability. Actually, this triangle shows also a reason why the people might leave their villages.
Just to add on daily information regarding all this talk about. So, at the moment, at least government is trying to somehow prioritize and plan their projects from bottom up, let's say, because municipalities at the moment are delivered with the right to come up with ideas what kind of projects can be implemented through the government money, through the regional development fund, so this nearly 200 million. So for the last year, but mainly at the moment, this is like very critical infrastructural development. These are schools, not schools, sorry, kindergartens, water supply. So this is for the initial stage. Maybe little more years future they will come up with other ideas when this kind of very small infrastructure, most needs are already settled. So maybe we are on the right track on this.
That's how we say it's a big room to improve agriculture, but it's not always that. If people don't have
yeah, to have long-term government commitment for the rural development. If it's not in the place, you can develop a lot of very good strategies, but it will not work because now 3 organizations are implementing this pilot rural development measure. There will be more other organizations, but it's obvious that after this project will be completed, it should be, whatever is done should be sustainable. And the only way for the sustainability is that government undertakes at least partially or fully funding of the rural development. And I think it would be also very important to know what is the funding possibilities of the government, what kind of money they can put in the rural development, because we might have again the strategy which will not be supported with the proper funding, and it will not be implemented properly. So that's why I think it would be very important not only to discuss here, but work on a very high governmental level to, at least through European Union, through our organizations, to ensure we are confident that this will be done. Not only strategy, but implementation and funding allocation, and at least know exact figures.
Question to Khalil Khabir.
So, let me be back to money and how to do rural development, which is not only infrastructure development, but also ownership of resources, etc., and municipality bank account, the income comes to this development, so I am not etc. That many of you, I believe, will know about this quite interesting thing, like there's a building, the ritual houses with, yeah. So, please push the idea, which I try to do my best to push through years now, to turn the houses into cultural, educational, public space for all the village. Because they are in most of the villages now. In many of villages, they are already 7th year that all this money goes for, and they cannot quit it and start, meaning that village money is absolutely lost for this village. Because no one say that when they choose, they actually don't choose themselves, it's ritual things.
That's a problem.
Yeah. But still, no, it's my shame if I don't hear about those people who are working for this. You know, no one says that it will last 10 years because money is very limited and this way of the implementation is such and it costs very good money. And our idea, which we confront of all this stuff, which taking and wasting money for nothing, it's building the civil society organization that I mentioned, community foundations on one way, building the bridge to self-government and allowing the self-government to grant those civil society organizations.
To the government,
Yes, they have money, ask them how much they spend.
it's a company, correct.
But we are on the way of development, and if we are, and one that they have.
And now we go to
Very short comment.
To and low, not
There is a process of elaborating strategy for the term of 5 years. I don't think it's a long-term commitment. Can we think about 10 years?
I think there is, can I?
Sure.
I think there is a government, I don't know, government something, government description that no action plan can go over 3 years now.
It's a regulation.
But if it's sorry, we are talking about two different things. Action plan is totally different. Strategy is different. We are talking about two different things. Action plan with money, with activities, with budget allocation, it's budgetary planning, etc. It's 3 years. Strategy is a big difference.
On the indicators,
developing the program and switching to the action plan. This is the thing that has to change. I think the way to get to general commitments is like pushing some ideas, like at a certain moment there is this idea of changing the Ministry of Agriculture title and it will be the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. This can be just a cosmetic change, or this can really prove commitment from the government in this sense. I have no answer.
I have a few comments, and the first one is when you are going to do like action plan and the measures, think about the possible impacts. Yeah? What happened also in Slovakia. Also with limited money, we supported modernization of farms, mostly supporting farmers buying tractors and whatever technologies. In one way it was good, because they really became competitive and could stay in the market. On the other way, they bought new technologies and they reduced employment. So people became unemployed because one tractor you can do the big field, and So now we are really reforming this sector. Then my comments to the degradation of population. Also in Slovakia we have officially Bratislava, the capital, has 450,000 people, but during the working days it's more than 700,000 people in Bratislava. And our lesson is that people are willing to travel for the job, and a lot of people are now moving from the big towns to the countryside because it's a much nicer way how to live there. And this is also maybe for our future rural strategy, that we should make a rural area like a nice place for living with the basic infrastructures to have there. It should be like environmentally friendly. It should have infrastructure. You were talking about schools, medical centers. Our mayors are now trying to keep the schools, because in some small villages they have only 10 kids in the school, yeah? But they are trying to keep it running, because if they close the school, young people will. And really the big regional differences, like salary in the eastern Slovakia is 500 euro average. In Bratislava region it's 1,300. It's almost 3 times a higher average salary than in other. So you cannot keep people staying in the regions. And the Slovak government, and this is to show you, this is also one way how to do the policy and investing very reasonably the state money. It's to create the state aid scheme and the support scheme for investments, for foreign investment and also for your own national investments. I don't know if you already have this state aid scheme, because each EU country has to negotiate it with European Commission. So in Slovakia, unfortunately agriculture is not there, but we are supporting through regional development, industry, investments, technology centers, shared services and also tourism. And you have special limits for the investments and conditions. You see the least favorite regions are red marked on the map. If you invest there, you get the state aid, yes? These are the how much subsidies you can receive. So the Bratislava region, this white one, is outside the scheme, and most of the investments are supported outside the capital. But as I showed you, our strategy is in regional development. First of all, investing in infrastructure, build highway, so people can really fast move across the country. A lot of people are just traveling for 5 days to Bratislava, work there, and then are coming back for the weekend. We are also investing a lot in the railways and so on. And also infrastructure is also very important for foreign investment. Because we are competing with other countries in Visegrad. We have really good Visegrad cooperation, but we are fighting for the investments. And most of the companies who came to the region were looking for very good infrastructures. We built industrial parks in the eastern Slovakia, but only one is really working, this small village I showed you, this Kechnec. Other parks are empty, because if you are not having highway there, how can they export the goods? We are a small country, depend on export. And therefore, I think our rural strategy will be to help farmers to stay in the region and to have a really nice place for living, so people keep moving. And the role of municipalities is to create this basic infrastructure and to keep it working.
So if we have no further comments, then we can move to conclusion part of our.
Now we can move to
Very easily. Now we can discuss what we need to discuss, agree, and without some interchange in the presentation, which will be distributed according to our discussion, agree more or less approximately about the timing of next meeting and subject that we.
With your permission, I would suggest the following, maybe the following kind of follow-up. The discussion paper which is presented at you, well, it was a very short timing where it has been distributed, so maybe we could take a week or 10 days, if you would be in a position to comment on it and send it back to us in order to further enrich it. I think it would be pity to lose all the points of this discussion not reflected into the discussion paper. I have taken a bunch of notes and I'll try to reflect it, and your kind help would be really instrumental to further enrich this document. That could then be used as a kind of a reference point for further strategic discussions in the future. This is one point. Another point is that I think we can propose the next topic for the next meeting. And I would like to collect your positions on this. So the principle is that it should be more or less consistent to the strategic priorities of the country's agriculture and rural development. So we are proposing the next topic to be the extension in agriculture, and to discuss on this. Any opinions?
Extension is.
Extension system and its development.
The ministry also is
How shall we?
quite acceptable for us because it's another important direction for the ministry. As we are aware, we are also planning to elaborate extension strategy of agriculture, and it would be a very good idea to have a meeting on this issue and to provide with comments and suggestions in this regard. So we agree. If you have no other proposals.
This would be a very interesting discussion, I assume, because extension is.
First of all, we should review what we need.
What will be, how it will be, what will be the structure? There are big questions there. So it will be very interesting topic. Of course, we all disagree, but at least we will discuss. It will be interesting.
And the date for the next meeting?
For the next meeting, probably it will be sometime in autumn.
It's what?
In autumn.
Yeah, we have.
We will have another 2 meetings until the end of the year, and probably we will do those 2 meetings for this particular working group in autumn or in winter, but probably autumn. I also would like to inform you that all the presentations is usually together. Once again, with these particular recommendations will be disseminated by email, and also I would like to encourage you to check a project website as well. I think it was on your presentation cover page. Yeah, it's okay. I can show it to you. You can see all the recommendations together with the translation we are trying to do all the translations as well. You can see all the discussions, video recording as well on the website of the project. previous presentations, and you will get also Levan's presentations. It's on the slides as well, like this one. And another information, you can also make your registration on the website to register yourself in the specific working group which you decide. As you know, we have other 3 working groups dedicated to DCFTA, strategic communication, environment and energy. Besides that, we are having a plenary session, that's a big conference on the 30th of May. And all of you are invited to this event. It will be at the Courtyard Marriott Hotel. It will start at 3 o'clock. Very soon, all of you will receive the invitations together with the agenda. We are planning to have my representation in this event. We plan that David Bakadze, the State Minister of New Integration, will join us in his presentation together with the Deputy Minister of Economy regarding DCFTA implementation. Also, Levan will do his presentation review, overviewing the sector, and also we'll have a speaker regarding the energy issue as well. And also we are expecting Slovak President to join us and say some greetings as the project is funded by Slovak Aid. We don't know yet if Georgian President will.
But we know about